Hey everybody, I'm here to show you Eye of the Beholder for SNES. This is a port of the DOS version. There's a bunch of other different versions, um, but this one I'm going to be playing with the SNES mouse. So that's why you're seeing a mouse move around here. It's not the actual hardware, since finding a working SNES mouse is like almost impossible. But this makes the game like exponentially harder because all you can do is click versus like moving, and there's a lot of input delay and things like that. Um, so I'm also going to be doing a category called 12 Special Quests, which is a little known thing that's in all of the versions of this game that like almost nobody knows about just because they're so obscure. But there's random tasks you have to do on each floor, and as we go through the game, we'll get like a little indicator indicating that we completed that quest, and there are 12 for each floor. Um, I'll explain each quest as we get to them. The last thing I'll mention before we get started is that I have a pre-rolled party here. One of the differences between the DOS version and the SNES version is that you don't get to pick your stats like you do in the DOS version. You have to roll them at random. So for consistency's sake, since we're doing a marathon here, I pre-rolled some characters, loaded a save state from that, and so I get a little consistent when I'm practicing. So we have two fighters, both human. I'll explain why we picked those: a human cleric and a human wizard that we're starting with, and we'll again talk about their importance as we go. But let's go ahead and get started. 3, 2, 1, go. So first thing we're going to do once we get over here is we're going to pray for some spells. We want to make sure we get Empower, which again, due to censorship with a lot of games that reported to America, is censored. It's Bless in real D&D. So we're gonna make sure that we get Bless, and we're going to turn off our graphics bar so we can actually see the numbers. So our first quest in this game is to get a dagger and put it on a shelf. That's literally the first quest. This turns that dagger into a special +4 dagger that we're never actually going to use, but we do it for the sake of completing the quest. So we'll go ahead and just kill some of these kobolds. We need 4 daggers in the end. So we're kind of hoping we get at least 4. I'm going to pick that one up. And as I briefly mentioned, there's a ton of input lag in this game. Like, especially if there's monsters on the screen, and then if there's monsters and then a spell is being cast, forget about it. So you can barely move. So that's going to be a big part of why this is so difficult, is just navigating everything and not dying when getting bombarded with spells. So we have our 4 daggers, which is good. I want to grab those 4 daggers. And then like I'll randomly move in certain directions because the input kind of carries over when you move your mouse too fast. So I try to be pretty precise with my movements and not go too fast, just so that we're able to actually go the direction we want to go. Alright, so we completed one quest there. That was our first one. So dagger on a shelf is quest number 1. That gives you the Ginsu dagger, which again we're not picking up because we're never going to throw a dagger. I just leave that on the shelf and move on, and we'll kill some of these worms here, carrion worms. Alright, so we're almost to the end of level 1. Got some more worms to deal with here. Yeah, let's try dagger on the shelf, yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about why I picked the characters I picked here. So, actually, I'm going to move this up here. The 2 front guys are, as I mentioned, human fighters. I did not click that. We picked them because they start with short swords, and that allows me to dual wield a mace, which the cleric starts with, and a short sword. That's why we picked the fighters. The clerics, the spellcasters don't really matter, but we need a wizard to complete the 12th quests of the game. So the 12th quest is to push Xanathar into his trap, and you can only do that using a wand that the dwarves give you. So the wand can only be used by a wizard, therefore we need at least somebody. Like, we could probably dual class somebody. I haven't optimized this run all that much. Oops. Apparently I got turned around there. So that's annoying. Fell down that hole. That's okay. That happens like all the time. You're just walking and then all of a sudden you go a direction that you did not click and you get tossed down a pit. So we do want to fall down this pit now. We're gonna have to rest a little early here just because my wizard took too much damage there. But we're gonna go ahead and we'll just rest here real quick here. It's the beauty of like speedrunning this, is like it can only get so bad. So as long as you're able to rest, we're never gonna run out of food. It's not even really a problem. So we can just do what we need to do to get our life back as needed. Alright, so we're gonna fall down again because I need to pick up my mace, and we'll go to the next section. So level 2's quest is there's these little inlets. We're about to see one come up here in a second once I kill some zombies here. And then there's also, I'll mention really quick, I'm taking like way more damage than used to, but the zombies can be turned by the cleric with, she can use like turn undead, but sometimes it doesn't fire, sometimes it does. It's really weird. I don't know why it does and why it doesn't. It might just be like a passive, like this failed and we don't give you any notification about it, which is entirely possible with this game. Alright, so that's pretty much this last section here, or the second section of this floor. We need to just, those little boxes are food. The smaller ones, they give you obviously a smaller amount. The larger ones give you like a full food bar. But again, food is not going to be an issue in this because we're going to complete the game so fast. Yeah, I agree. The SNES mouse was a miss. I think they made it for like Super Mario, Mario Paint, and then they I think they forced it to like work with a lot of games that definitely didn't need it. The controls in this game with the controller are pretty good, but they were a little too much for my brain, so I decided to go for the mouse, which was a mistake. I would highly recommend learning the controller setup versus the mouse. What's also interesting is the next game I'm playing also supports the SNES mouse, though I will not be playing with the SNES mouse. This guy is jumping all over the place. Alright, whatever, I'm just gonna leave him here. I don't know where he's going. He got turned there, so he's just gonna wander down that hall. We're gonna grab what we need to grab here, and then we'll go back and deal with him. Alright, so we grab that red potion, as that's a potion of giant strength. Yeah, we're just gonna leave this zombie wandering around randomly. And we use that at the last part of the game. Ooh, I got turned around there, I think. I can't tell. Yeah. Just randomly got spun around there like a whole 180 degrees, which isn't even like an option. Anyway, so completing those 3 sections opened up this wall I just walked through. There's like 3 sections that disappear as you go through. So this will get us to the last part of the second quest, which is just putting daggers into these little slots here. So these are the 4 daggers we got from the last floor. So now we've completed the second quest. So we'll move through this level and go right into the third, and the third one is pretty quick too. After we get to do a little elevator action here. Shout out to elevator action. You jump in here, and we'll pop down 2 floors. Turn around. Now we're on the 3rd floor of this, 3rd floor of the 2nd floor, which is interesting. But we move in here. There'll be some zombies, which we'll smack the crap out of here. Hopefully, punch. Super will punch them. There we go. SNES is having a good time here. He's getting some good luck. Alright, there we go. That's all the zombies. And then there's like an 90% run of this that's super fast and is way more optimized than I would probably ever optimize this run, and it's really, really cool to watch. Highly recommend you check it out. Just kind of showcases how easy this game can be if you know exactly where you're going. Um, but I like this category and kind of made it up just because I really like this game. It's been like I grew up playing this game, and I like to showcase like all the monsters and like that kind of stuff. So we'll see every monster, almost every monster, in the game, which is pretty cool. And like we'll get to see parts of the dungeon you definitely don't see as part of the N8% run. And the SNES version actually has music, whereas the DOS version does not. So you get some pretty good jams in this version of the game. So we're on the 3rd floor now. We're actually going to use this teleport here. That teleports us to the end of level 3. So this one's pretty quick. Shout out to really long hallways. We'll pick up these blue gems. Unnecessarily long hallways is what I was going for there. And we put these blue gems into each of the sets of eyes. Let's see. So there's 4 sets of eyes. The special quest in this one is to take the 4 gems out after you've put them in. So these 4 gems will open up a wall, and once that wall is open, then we'll be able to go to the next floor. All right, it's a hobgoblin. It's our first one. Oh, he didn't drop a mace. That's unfortunate. So we could use the mace on the 2nd warrior for more damage, but it doesn't really matter. We'll find another weapon soon. Alright, so we plug that eye in there. We have one more down this way, and there's little spinny... Whoa, got it spun around. Speaking of spinning, there's little tiles on the corners of this room that spin you around and change your direction, which is like why I'm just kind of like going into a corner and then going straight forward again. So it's like, it tricks you up and gets you all turned around and stuff, but if you know what you're doing, it's not too horrible. Alright, so we gained a level, that's what that sound meant. Now we're going to take all the gems out. So, there we go. So that spun me around. I have a different set of eyes to pull from now. And we'll go down this way. There's one more here. Or, there's 3rd one's there. And we'll back up a little bit, go right, and then go back. Now we have the 4th one, and that's our next special quest completed. So, now we just need to leave the floor. So this will be our first safety save coming up here. We're going to grab another giant strength potion here. We'll use that later, like I was talking about. And actually, we're going to grab this chainmail, just for a little extra safety, since we are in a marathon here. So this floor gets where things start to get a little scary, especially if you're doing a casual playthrough. So the special mission here is just to pull some random chain, which I have no idea how anybody would ever know to do this, but I'll explain that when we get there. But the scary part about this floor is that there are spiders here. So, of course, nobody likes spiders, but the real problem is that there's no way to heal the poison they put on you. All we can do is, which I should double check and make sure I have, yeah, okay, is slow poison, and that'll just get us through to the dwarven village where we can like actually get healed. So this is a huge problem in casual playthroughs, and I used to die here a bunch as a kid on the DOS version, because once you're poisoned, you're like, what do? I can't get healed, and you just slowly die. So unless you knew exactly how to get to the dwarven city, and even then, he can only heal you so much. So you'd probably just die here and get frustrated and not play anymore. But luckily, we have a cleric with slow poison, which gives us a little more time, which is nice, and for the sake of the speedrun, plenty of time to get healed. There's a random spider who likes to, yep, there he is. So there's 4 spiders in this room, and we're going to pick up our first portal key, which I will explain here in a bit. Let's see. Okay, so there's one, and if we get here, that's unfortunate, but we can deal with it. Yeah, we just got hit. That's okay. Obviously, don't want to get hit too much. And the spell interface in this version of the game is atrocious. You have to like left-click some things, right-click other things. So I try not to use spells as much as I can in this game. That's why the mage has like no spells at all because I don't plan on using anything with them except one. Um, but so yeah, I put Empower or Bless on there just so I had a better chance of hitting spiders and getting through without getting hit. But we end up getting hit once, but again, not a big deal because we have slow poison. Alright, so now we're just making our way to we grab a couple things on this floor. The first thing we do is the special quest. Actually, that's not entirely true. The first thing we do is pull a lever, which will allow us to get to the end of the level, which is in this door here. You just pull this little hand down. That closes a pit in one of the upcoming rooms. Alright, so here's the chain. Like, all it is just a chain. You have no idea what it does. You pull it, it doesn't do anything. It just makes like a little clicking sound. So, apparently its purpose is if you get this room, like the walls keep shifting, you can kind of hear it. It's a little static sound. All that does is like move the wall, and then when the walls are in that position specifically, you can pull that chain, and that completes the quest for the level. It's super random. I don't know why that was decided on, but that's how you complete it. We go in this room. We pick up this axe. This is the second weapon I was mentioning. That axe is really good, actually. It only appears if you don't open the two doors on the side. So it's a +3 axe called, I think it's like the Drow Slayer or something like that. But a +3 axe on this floor is going to help us a lot in the next part, which I call the Dance of the Kenku. We're going to have to kill many, many Kenku to clear out an area so that we can complete the one of the 12 quests there. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. So, yeah, now we're on our way to the next floor, which is where the dwarves live. So we'll be there in a bit, and we'll talk a little bit about like the story of the game once we get there, and be able to heal our characters of that poison, so we don't have to worry about getting killed with that. So down here we just pick up. Just gonna pick up another key. We're picking up a bunch of dwarven keys here. We need these throughout the level. I'm also going to pick up the scale mail, which will be replaced soon, but just want to make sure I have that for safety. And then we walk through this magic wall here, use the dwarf key, and now we are in the kind of the area of the dwarf town. So we go into here. So I'm actually going to save here because this is a pretty important dialogue box, and if I misclick, it could just invalidate the run because we won't be able to do the 12th quest. So I had a here proposal. If you click leave, the dwarves hate you and you can't complete the 12th quest. And you have to click help him, or you can't complete it. And then we say no so that we don't bring him with us, just because we don't need the body there. If I had said the wrong thing on any of those, again, the dwarves would just hate you and you can't complete the 12th quest, so that would invalidate the run. So this is our second portal key. We're never actually going to use that one. We're going to ditch it in a bit, but we need it to complete a quest. And then we're going to heal our party. So we're back now. We're not poisoned anymore. That healer is like kind of on a timer, so he can't heal you again for a certain period of time. But if you go through a portal and come back in, it like triggers the timer. So that is how you would kind of abuse that. Alright, so that was the next quest, which is we stack 5 rations on that shelf, and we get 5 iron rations, which are the bigger versions of those, in return, and that completes the quest. That one is a little, at least more obvious. It says there's a little sign next to it that says like storage or food storage or pantry, I think, and you're like, oh, maybe if I put some amount of food there, it'll work. But it has to be small rations specifically, so you'd probably sit there and mess with it for a bit before you figured that out. But at least there's like a clue as to what you need to do. So we're jumping into our first portal here. This portal lets you teleport between floors based on the artifact that you have. So this is floor 7, I think. It's one of the floors. But the quest here, yeah, this is 7. This is all you have to do is put a artifact into each of these shelves, because they love shelves. And once you put an artifact in each shelf, the questings. You get some notes about, you get some storyline, some background, which is basically that Xanathar the Beholder has tricked the Drow into attacking the dwarves, and with the grand scheme of taking over Waterdeep, the town above, from below. So we're on a quest to kind of stop that from happening, and that dwarf there had mentioned to us that their king is sick and needs a special potion, which is part of getting the wand to kill Xanathar. So that'll be so we'll have to make another stop back there near the end of the game to drop off that. I just saved here as this room is really laggy. As I'm walking, there are pits opening up behind me, so it's really easy for this game to, again, misinterpret where you're clicking, and I could easily spin around or sidestep into a pit that I didn't intend to, and if I am to do that, then I'd have to reload that save. But it can get pretty scary sometimes when you're coming through here. But yeah, all we're doing here is we're just trying to gain access to the other part of the level. The way we do that is with these 2 keys that we picked up. We're also going to pick up this Ring of Featherfall, which prevents damage when falling. And we'll use that a few times just to keep the mage's life up. We're going to switch out the chainmail for some plate mail there, which will help in the Kenku battle to come. And we jump in this portal, and now we're like back by the dwarf area, but on a different side. So there's a bunch of spiders around here that we need to be not careful of, but handle. We can get poisoned. Again, it's not a huge deal. We can just run over to the dwarf place. I just got poisoned. We'll slow poison them. There's 3 spiders here, so I want to make sure I deal with all of them if I can. Except one is just hiding, so he'll show up randomly, I'm sure, at a very inconvenient time. There he is. And I'm all turned around, which is helpful. There we go. Alright, so we'll go back. We'll make a quick stop off at the dwarf proper, really quick here. And to get healed again. Since we went in a portal, that reset the healer. So I should be able to just pop over here. Heal party. Alright, so we are no longer poisoned, which is nice. Then we don't have to deal with spiders the rest of the game for the most part. So unless we randomly run into one at some point if I make a mistake. But for the most part, we are out of Spiderland. We have one little section here that's left, and then it's on to the Dance of the Kenku. So we have to pull 3 levers in this room. These teleporters always get me confused here, so I'm going to try my best to not get too screwed up. This one, and then this one, and this one. Nope, it's the north one. North, this one. There we go. We go north and east. Okay. So now we are at the end of this like crazy teleport section, and it's probably not super hard for you to tell that it's incredibly laggy here too. So I'm just trying to be extra careful to not step into the wrong portal there. Alright. So now we go to the Kenku floor. So this is like really where any sort of optimization kind of goes out the window, because you need to kill, I would say, in the range of 20 to 25 Kenku, which are, I would argue, one of the hardest monsters in this game. So we'll have to use our weapons here to open that door, and we're going to save here because it's about to get real dicey. So the ideal scenario here is that you get on top of them really quick, like this front guy here, and then we kind of just strafe around him, except he doesn't want to move from there. There we go. And that way, like, we avoid their damage. Most of their damage comes from magic missiles. So there's a Kenku in here. I don't know where he is. There he is. So he casts Magic Missile, which 1, lags the game like crazy, and 2, does direct damage like that. Like, I can't avoid it, like, it just happens. So obviously, because anyone who's played D&D knows magic missile is like #1 spell. Our goal here, the quest for this floor, I didn't get there quick enough, is to, there's 10 Kenku eggs. Oh, there's a spell. And you can kind of like feel the choppiness even just looking at it once they cast a spell. Everything kind of pauses when a spell is active, but like not really. So like monsters can still move, but you really can't, and it's bad. But anyway, so back to what the quest is. So the quest here is to collect 10 Kenku eggs and then return those Kenku eggs to the Kenku nest. So as you can imagine, the Kenku nest is going to have a lot of Kenkus. So we're going to have to clear all of that out to be able to safely deal with the completing of the quest, which is like putting all of the eggs down and things like that. So, whoa, okay, dodge that magic missile there, which is nice. Alright, so right there too, you just saw, see now there's 2 Kenkus. There's a respawn point right there. And they can just respawn infinitely there, which is super annoying. And I'm trying, again, not to get hit here as much as possible, because if you rest, jeez, I got turned around and then blasted. But yeah, if you rest on this floor, Kenku can respawn based on how much time you spend there. So it's like every hour a Kenku will respawn. So if we rest for like 8 hours, you could potentially have 8 more Kenku to deal with. So we want to do our best to not rest on this floor. We may have to, but it's so laggy. But we're doing our best to avoid that. Oh, I got turned around again. And alright, so let's see. Oh, there's another Kenku. That's let's just dance with this guy. We'll dance with him, get him out of the way, and we'll just leave him here because we don't want to deal with that one. So next part here, we're gonna go into like the main Kenku area. We're also gonna pick up these daggers, which I'll explain, or darts, which I'll explain in a bit. We don't need to talk about that. It's gonna be part of a quest. So if I can actually click them and get them in my inventory. The hitboxes on literally everything in this game, in this version, is just real bad. Definitely feels like they were forcing the mouse work in this one. But alright, so we're running down this hall. There's a single egg here, so we should have 2 eggs by now, which we do. And we need to pick up 8 more in the main area here. So we'll do some dancing with the Kenkus in here. Dance with the Kenku. We're going to save here. So we'll dance around a bunch of them in this room, try to clear it all out. And then we're going to help some Kenkus move apartments. There's a few rooms where eggs reside, with several Kenku in them, and we're just going to basically clear one of the rooms out and then try to move the others into the room that we cleared out. So you'll see what I'm talking about once I get there. Whoa. Watch out for those magic missiles. Okay, trying to line these guys up. There we go. And there are so many Kenku in here that like the lag is like very real. And I'm struggling to even get some attacks in. I don't want to. Okay, I don't think they'll follow me here. Oh, they're gonna follow me. That's okay. Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay, it's okay. We're probably gonna have to rest based on how this is going, but we'll deal with that in a bit. Get rid of these 2. There's one there. Come on. Come on. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, and we just... Unfortunately, you can't really pick who you're attacking. You just kind of hit at random. So, like, we ended up splitting damage there. Which, played... Oh, apparently there's a Kenku somewhere here. Oh, goodness. I think he's behind us. Oh, yep, there he is. Alright, so we're actually going to have to do some damage control here. I'm clicking. Oh, and I'm stuck on swap. Okay. Let's go this way. Alright. So we have one of our warriors is unconscious at the moment, so we're going to try and fix that. And then we're definitely going to need to rest. I healed for 1 there. That's annoying. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go up a floor so that we don't spawn more Kenku since we're right here. And we're just going to rest. We'll take this time actually to... It's not all horrible because I can get a haste spell. So I'll use haste. And this is the only other reason we have the mage, is so they can use the haste spell. So we're going to do that. We're going to throw some light wounds on here. Clear these out because we're going to need hold person spells for the next set of monsters. And we get a couple charges of remove paralysis, which we'll add a third one here before we go any farther. But yeah, we'll go ahead and heal up. Play this a little safer than I normally would. Normally I would just try to dance with those Kenkus, but we don't want to find ourselves in a real bad situation. We're going to go ahead and cast Empower, which again increases our chances to hit, and then we'll haste, which increases our swing speed. Then we're going to save, and then we're going to go down and deal with these guys again. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of them down there, and if you get stuck in a bad spot, they can surround you and just beat the crap out of you or rapid fire you with magic missiles that you can't avoid, and the game just slows to a crawl. So, alright, let's try this take 2 here, if we can find some of them. They may have moved on. Alright, so there's 2 here, none to our side, so we're going to try and... Oh, man, it's so slow right now. There's definitely a lot of them moving. You can tell just by how slow my weapons are swinging. So the more monsters, the slower the game goes. But alright, let's kill this guy. This is also giving us some levels. We're gonna have to deal with, if anyone is familiar with D&D monsters, we're gonna deal with a bunch of Zorns. We're gonna dance with them as well, but that dance is a little more stand in their face and whack them versus this kind of like dancing around kind of strategy, just because the Zorns don't give you as much space as you have here with dealing with the Kenkus. So we go down a little bit here, clicks. We're going to trigger, we'll come back to this room, but this is like another place that we can pick up some darts for the next quest. But for now, I'm going to guess those other Kenkus that were chasing me just... Oh, that's definitely not where I clicked. I got sent into that room, but alright. Blast a little bit, but we're good. There we go. And then slash, slash, slash. Come on. Okay. There we go. Dancing with these Kenkus here a bit. And it's like, it's kind of scary when it says you can't go that way, and I click to the right. I'm like, oh man, is there a Kenku there? But most of the time there isn't. It's just the game being dumb and trying to send you in the wrong spot. Alright, so I think we're pretty clear here. So now we're going to move on to moving the Kenkus out of their apartments. So there's 3 doors here. We're going to start on this one here. And again, I'm just going to quickly, safely save just based on how things have been going so far. Just to make sure that if things go sideways in here, we're not in too much trouble. Alright, so we want to rush into this room. We want to try and get these guys all together, if we can, before they can leave this room, but they're not playing nice here. So we're going to have to see if we can dodge a little bit here. The ideal scenario, you're in that room and you're kind of just moving in circles. I'm just going to face check these missiles here. This will give you a good example of how rough this game can be once there's multiple things firing spells at you. Actually, they're being pretty nice. Oh, there's another one. And there we go. Come on. There's one left. Once we clear out one of the rooms, we can just take the others out of their room and move them. But we want to make sure, so we get all the rest of the, not all the rest of, but, well, yes, all of the rest of the Kenku eggs in these next 2 rooms. So there's 2 in here. We'll double check, yeah. Because you don't want to move them into the room and then have more eggs be here. So I'm going to stand here for a couple seconds, try and let the Kenkus gather up near the door. So I'll use this opportunity to heal a little bit. And the hope is that once I open this door, they've all kind of gathered in front to attack me. Or at least gathered up. There you go. So they're close. So we want them in a group of 3. And we gotta kind of dodge their magic missiles. We're gonna move them into the other room and then close the door on them. Since Kenkus don't have thumbs, they can't open the door. Although they can hold staves, what have you. Alright. That was unfortunate. That's okay. We're gonna move them to like the back of the room here, so we have plenty of time to scoot over here. I mean, this is an upgrade. This is a much bigger apartment for them, so I think they should be good in there. So we'll come in here, grab these eggs. So this has the most eggs out of all the rooms. So it'll give us 9. And then there's one more in the last apartment down the hall. So we're going to try to do something similar with those as well. We'll sit in front of the door for a second or two. Hope that they gather up in an attempt to come get me. And then we'll move in and get them down the hall. This is the hardest room to get them out of. They definitely don't like to group up here for some reason, although it looks like they're being somewhat nice here. Oh, that's alright. We'll take that one. If I can let those other two, I don't know where they wandered off to. Alright, because there's 4 in here. We definitely don't want to get like a barrage of magic missiles here, so. Alright, good. We got all 4. They also like to wander down that hall the wrong way, so we're going to try and prevent that from happening. Alright, and then we got a magic missile to deal with here. We're going to have to take this one. That's okay. And that one. And that one. Alright, let's see. Come on, guys. We only have 2 for some reason. I don't know where the third one went. But, oh, no, we got 3. Okay. So this one's a little harder to get them into as well, unless they wandered off and disappeared. Oh my god. Smack him a little bit. Come on, this way, guys. Oh, and then my spells are wearing off, which is going to slow the game down even more. Alright, there we go. This is what we want to do. Dodge the magic missile here. Come on. At this point, it would have been faster to kill him. Alright. Here we go. I'm going to move him into here. They're very finicky about like how far they'll travel to follow you and stuff. Sometimes it'll be they'll travel and follow you forever. Other times they'll leash like almost immediately. So it kind of depends on the area. All right, so there's one more in here, but we'll deal with this one guy. We'll just face check the magic missile in his staff. Yeah, he was mostly dead anyway. All right, so we're almost out of the Kenku floor, which is by far the worst floor in the game. We have our 10 eggs, which we will now have to go drop on the floor and not break, and go ahead and get our +5 halberd that we're not going to use, but is the quest reward for this floor. So we'll close the door just in case there's some that show up behind us, and then we'll go ahead and just drop these on the floor. And it's funny because they have to be on like this part of the floor. They can't be the floor in front of the door. It doesn't trigger the quests, which is interesting. But yeah, so we drop some eggs, and we will get turned around apparently, but that's okay. Alright, so Kenkus are done. There's still 1 or 2 more that we have to kill, but the majority of it is over. We've completed the quest. So we gotta go take some damage. I'm gonna fall down some holes, grab some keys, pick up some darts, which we'll talk about now. So the darts we need 12 darts to complete the floor, I think it's floor 9's quest. Basically, it's like a room with a bunch of holes in the wall. You're reloading a dart trap, and then it wants you to like, if you trigger it, you get a +5 dart as like a special reward. We don't care about the darts, so we're not going to do that. But we need these 2 dwarf keys here, so we'll grab these. This will allow us to leave this floor. We jump down here, and we're not dead, which is good. So I actually forgot to I have to go back and grab a couple of Kenku eggs, and I'll explain why in a second here. Alright, but we have, we'll also trigger this and grab, got turned there. Let's see. This is a quick way to get 4 more darts, which is all we need. So this trap triggers 2 darts to fire down the end of the hall, and we can trigger it twice. So this conveniently gives us all the daggers, or the darts that we need. So we have all the darts now. We're almost done on this floor for the most part. We'll come back one time quick, but alright, so we're gonna pick up 4 Kenku eggs here. We're gonna use 3 for a special quest, and 1 we use to bribe the drow on the next floor, so that we don't need to fight any of the drow warriors, which is super nice because the drow are really, really hard to kill. So pop keys into the walls here. This is actually rotating this middle section of stone. So there's a Kenku out of his cage there. That's interesting. He usually doesn't pop out until you put the last key in. But we'll, oh, I clicked that click was on me. Then we'll sidestep here. Yeah, we're pretty low on health here, so we want to be somewhat cautious. If somebody dies, we can fix the problem. It's way out of the way, so we don't want that to happen. But again, trying to avoid having to rest on this floor as much as possible is pretty important. Alright, just make sure that that Kenku's gone. Okay, yeah, so he escaped somehow. He was just in a weird spot. But we dropped 3 of the 4 eggs here because the drow down on the floor below will take all of your Kenku eggs that you have on you when you click this button here, bribe. We don't want them to take them all because we need the other 3 for a quest, so we just give them 1, and they don't even know that we have 9 more in reserve. So we're heading down to floor 9 to do floor 9's quest, which is to throw throw your holy grail or your holy symbol at a wall, and then the quest dings. There is like hint text there. Like I'll show you really quick before I throw it in there, but it's actually written in drow. So you can't understand it with your standard crew. There's actually a drow that you can recruit, so it's like right here, it just says drow writing is written here. But you can't actually, you can't read it unless you recruit the drow character in the game. So it's obviously not intended to be figured out right away. I throw the holy symbol. Only some things work. Some do, some don't. Which is kind of weird, but I find that a lot with like pressure plates and stuff too. Like some items are okay, some items are not. I don't know if that's intended because I don't feel like that happens in the DOS version. I feel like the DOS version you can just throw whatever you want. But anyway, so we just completed that quest. What that gave us as a reward were 3 orbs of power. We don't need them, but in a casual playthrough, you can put those on, again, a shelf somewhere, along with items you want identified, and it'll identify all your items. So it's pretty helpful in a casual playthrough, but in our playthrough, we know what we have, we don't need to identify anything. Alright, so just grabbed a key there to get us to the next section of this set of floors. So just navigating through. This is the drow barracks, essentially, is the floor that we're on. Since we bribed them, there's no patrols. They're not going to stop us. We can just walk around freely. Thank you, Kenku eggs. And we come down here to pop this key in. So this is actually going to send us back to the Kenku floor, where we will find a ring. But this ring is actually an artifact to help us travel through portals. So we're going to use that ring to teleport to floor 10. So we're gonna click our, whoa, got turned around there, trying to click too fast. So we're gonna go back to the Kenku floor and pick up those 3 eggs that we left behind, as we're gonna use those 3 eggs as part of the floor 10 quest. We'll actually pop by and, alright, there we go. Pop by and say hi to the drow real quick here too. Let's see. Oh, or I went the wrong way. I think because I got turned around there. Alright, there we go. I think this is the right way. Oh man. Let's see. I need to find a landmark. I got turned around. The game turned me around. And I wasn't sure where it was. Let's see. We don't want to wander too far either, because if we get stuck somewhere. Ah, crud. second. Okay, pits. That's at least a landmark. Oh man, okay. I got turned around pretty hard there. So we're gonna navigate our way back this way. Okay, got a keyhole here. There we go. Alright, we found our drow barracks there. Say hi to the drow. That's how we know we're on the right path. Yeah. The getting turned around part, as you can imagine, is if your brain thinks you're going one way and then all of a sudden you're not in these games, especially when you're trying to go fast, is always a problem. But we're back. We're actually going to save real quick here. Actually, we're going to save up at the on floor 10, so we'll just do that then. We'll need to double save here. Alright, so this is the portal that we're going to use the ring at, so we'll use that. So this next quest, basically, what we need to do is put 3 Kenku eggs on, again, shelves. And once we put the 3rd egg down, it spawns a whole room of these Mantis Warrior things, which we're going to fight here in a second. And it's pretty dangerous, so I want to make sure that we are prepared to go into this room. So we're definitely going to rest. We're going to memorize some more spells. Actually, I haven't got another level on the wizard yet, which is unfortunate. We only have 1 charge of haste, but shouldn't matter for this. We do have another charge of remove paralysis, which is really important, because these things, when they hit you, they will paralyze you, and they're likely going to hit us. We're going to try to cast hold person, but the menuing is pretty hard to do because the mouse kind of jumps around a bunch. But we're going to buff ourselves here a little bit first before we do this as well. So bless, and we'll put on haste, and then we'll save, and then we'll go into this room. And before we complete the quest, we're going to save again, just because again that actually is the worst, the harder part, and things can get pretty out of hand if you get stuck in there. So we got to touch this mantis before he'll activate. And then we move over here, get in position, hold person, which is pretty effective on these guys. And then we can just smack on this guy's going to hit me, just because I couldn't get there quick enough. Alright, hold person. Yeah, these Mantis Warriors are definitely the fastest creatures in the game. I know they have a name, like an actual official name, but I can't remember it from D&D. But they were big in like 2nd edition. I feel like a lot of the storylines dealt with them. But with hold person, they're pretty tame. As long as we land it, that's the biggest thing. There's another mantis in here, and he didn't come for some reason. So there he is. Okay, we'll just deal with him here. But they have they have that right there. You just saw it. They have this weird level of speed where they can take an action and then another action immediately, which it's obviously some sort of warrior trait in D&D, but they're like the only monster in this game, including Xanathar, that can do that. It's super weird. Yeah. So we'll save here, and then we'll load our eggs onto our shelf here. The reward for this is actually you get 3 rings that are actually pretty powerful. One's like a floating one is like a like a ring of plenty, so you never have to eat again. And then there's some +3 ring. All right. We're going to go quickly here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's okay. We got paralyzed, but that's fine. It's more important we just get out of the room. Alright, so cool. We survived. But yeah, we don't need any of those rings since we're not doing anything related to that. So we can actually ditch the ring here. We don't need that anymore. And we'll plug the scepter in. Now we're traveling to floor 8. So this is why we picked up all the daggers, or the darts. So we'll use all the darts on this floor to complete this quest. So we're moving along here. We can throw the scepter for good luck. I always throw it here. We don't need that anymore either. So we go down here. Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, thanks for the names. Yeah, I couldn't remember. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I always any game. I think I played a lot of the Dark Sun series when I was a kid too, and they're pretty prominent in that world, so I liked making characters of that race back in the day. Um, but yeah, so we just saw a Drider there. That's like one of two potential Driders. We'll see. The Drider is pretty easy compared to a lot of other monsters, actually, which is kind of funny. Um, Alright, so this next part here is pretty dicey. Another spot we're going to want to save, mainly because of game lag. So when I step out here, a fireball is going to pass right over here on the right side, and then make a sound. So this room has fireballs that fire on certain touch plates, but there's also pits that you need to avoid. So you have to go down the hall like this, move up a little bit, duck off to the side, let the fireball pass, go up to the next one, couple spots. But that can happen pretty easily there, which is why I saved. You need to be able to, like, the game just lags horribly, again, because there's three pits that it needs to account for, and these fireballs, and like anytime a spell is on the screen, everything is so much slower. We got by that time. So like you can even like sidestep there. Ooh, we get to see a Hellhound, so we don't usually get to see Hellhounds. It's pretty cool. They just attack. They attack pretty fast, but they're pretty low damage, so they're not a huge threat. And we still have haste and empower on from our last little fight, so he should go down pretty quick. All right, so that was good. Got to see a Hellhound. That's fun. All right, so we're making our way again to the special quest for this floor, which is right over here. So to our left, we're not going to go left here, but if we were to go left, there's a Hellhound like kennel back there, and there's like 12 Hellhounds or something, and you can really feel the lag when you're near that room or that set of rooms. So like we try to avoid that like the plague. All right, so we're popping all these darts into these holes here. There's like a pretty good hint about this one too, I think. I think it's written on either one of these scrolls on the ground, or on a wall somewhere in this dungeon. So this one is actually pretty well hinted at as well. So it's not entirely obscure. Oh, did I step? I did. Okay. There we go. So there's another quest down. Alright. Alright, so now, I used to go, oh, I got turned there. And like sometimes you can't even tell when it turned you. You just have to be paying attention to the compass. But yeah, so usually I would go down the floor manually with the stairs, and fight. There's like 3 or 4 displacer beasts and a rust monster down there. And everyone knows, anyone who knows anything about D&D knows rust monsters are pretty terrible. And so are displacer beasts. So I came up with a better route to avoid that. I just dropped down that pit, one of the fireball pits there. And this drops us at the end of level 9, so we can walk down to 10. Since we've already done the quest for 9 earlier, we don't need to spend any time on there, fight the displacer beasts or anything like that. So so now we're on floor 10, which is floor 11. So we were on 10, and we dropped down to 11. Something like that. Actually, no, we're on 10 now. Yeah, I don't know. It gets confusing. This is 10, so this is the Mantis Cave, essentially. And then we're going to drop down to 11 here, which is the second to last floor. Alright. I'm going to grab, right over here is just a Ring of Featherfall. I don't really need it, because I'm in pretty good shape, but it just saves us some time. There's less healing that needs to be done during a rest, so. So now we're in, like, this big, like, square-shaped chamber, and there's like 3 layers to it, and so the idea here is that you have to push these buttons to kind of pull the layers back and make it to the outer ring here. So now that we've lined up everything with the center, we can do the same here. And if this is off, this puzzle can be like really annoying, because you have to go back and line up all the walls and spin them all around, and it can get really confusing. But if we just do it right off the bat and right in the beginning, it's not too bad. So We want to go north first, so we're going to go through here, and then we'll do the dance of the Zorn coming up here. So Zorns are like giant rock four-legged monster things with like a mouth. They are notoriously difficult in D&D in general. So this is obviously endgame content here. But the first thing we're going to do is take this potion here. So this is actually the Dwarven healing potion that we need to bring to heal the king. So we want to make sure we grab that. And the special quest for this floor is to flip these switches in a certain way that turns that scroll I just put in the shelf into 3 scrolls, which gives you a hint about, like, pretty much exposes Xanathar for being a bad guy. We just have to do... My spells are dropping, so the game's lagging. We have to do this in a certain order. There we go. And now we've completed the quest for this floor. Alright, so now we get ready to fight the Zorns here. Zorns and Mind Flayers are what we're going to be dealing with on this floor. Let's see, do I have? There we go. I got another cast of haste now, which is good. We're gonna rest here. We're gonna drink those giant strength potions that we grabbed earlier, and that'll help us kind of power through these guys. These guys hit really, really, really hard. That's more of the problem. I mean, I guess hitting them is also pretty hard, but they hit like a truck, so we need to be somewhat careful and kind of dance around them a little bit as best we can, given our space here. So we'll do a bless, and then we'll do a haste as well. And we're going to save so that we have all of our spells ready to go if we have to reload. This should be pretty smooth, but they can surround you pretty quick here. If I see an opportunity to run by them, I might take it. It's really going to depend on how many we see coming here. So they can't step on this like tile right in front of me. Like, they can't go here. So I'm pretty free to just kind of pop over and then like pop back like this. As you can see, a lot of damage there. I really don't want them to hit, yeah, like my back row. Like, that's the problem, is they can pop in behind us there. And then, there we go. So, but we want to kill like 2 or 3 out of this right side here should be fine. I'm getting pretty unlucky here. They usually don't hit my back row this much. It's alright, we're waiting for another one. We'll try to give her some health. Oh, and then if you click too fast, it sends you to the spell menu. Alright, cool. That should be enough. So took 3 of them out. We'll just cruise through here. We're gonna have to probably deal with 1 or 2 on the way back, but that was pretty good actually. Not too horrible. It stinks that the back got dinged up, but I shouldn't have a problem with them anymore, hopefully. Alright, so we grab a key that we need, and this orb is the orb that takes us to the final floor. So we want to grab that. Alright, and we'll make our way back. And we're done with the north section here. Let's see if we can smack our way through these Zorn here without taking too much damage. Doing a little dance here. It's much easier to deal with once he's in this room, so if we can... There we go. Alright. It's really laggy right now. I think there's still more Zorn in here, so we gotta be careful. Alright. Oh, they're all partying down there, so that's good. So we're good. We're out of that section. So that's like the biggest, probably the second biggest threat on this floor. The next is the Mind Flayers, which we can make pretty quick work of, especially since we're hasted and have giant strength on. The problem is that if we screw up our little dance with the Mind Flayers, they can paralyze our whole group. They can insta-kill us. They have, you know, again, anyone who's played any sort of D&D and has encountered Mind Flayer, obviously not very pleasant. So we're going to try and get down here really quick. Jump on this one. This guy can wander, so we just want to take him out so he doesn't show up behind us at some point. So he's dead. That's good. We have 2 more that we need to kill before, ideally before our power runs out here. This is my favorite secret, this little tiny pixel of a button that you hit, and then you got Zorn power coming out of here. There we go. Whoa, got a lot of lag there. Oh, still more lag. I'll try and take this guy out too, because we're going to have to deal with 2 Mind Flayers coming up here, and we don't want this guy randomly showing up to the party. So, smack the crap out of him. There we go. Alright, so we're clear here. We have a Mind Flayer in here, which we're going to try and jump on quick again. There we go. Before he even sees us, hopefully, we can just smack him. Whoa. Do a little dance. There we go. Easy. We pick up this key. It's the last key we'll need for the rest of the game, really. So grab that. And then we'll progress through here. One more Mind Flayer to smack. This one, he usually likes to hang out by the door, so we'll see if we can actually jump on him. Yeah, so he's right here already. But it's not too bad. We have a couple turns that we can kind of pipe him down, hopefully, and not have to deal with too much of him. There we go. Quick and easy. So in here, there's actually a pile of like really good stuff there. We don't need any of that though, so we're not going to grab it. But in a casual playthrough, it's all pretty helpful. It's like some wizard robes, some bracers of protection, stuff like that. So pretty big find there. But we just need the grail, as they call it in this, or the holy symbol, just to use the portal. So that's the grail is going to portal us back to 7, which was where we will then use the necklace, which will portal us back to the dwarven village, so we can quickly turn in the dwarven brew there to heal the king, and that will also give us the wand of, it's like Xanthanas or something like that. It's the wand that we can use to push Xanathar to complete the 12th quest. So I'll go ahead and pop this in there. It's almost like it was intended. So pop into this portal. We will be back on floor 5, which is the dwarf floor. Let's pop this back in our inventory here real quick. And we'll run up this way. We're going to stop by the healer too, just to top off a little bit. So they're excited. They thank you a bunch, and they give you this wand. Actually, probably should have saved. That was kind of unsafe. Sometimes that wand just doesn't spawn. I'll kind of explain why, my theory behind that, once we get to the end of the game as to why that might not spawn. But anyway, we'll continue here. So we're going back now. So we're just going back to level 11. Now all our spells are running out. So actually, we made really good time there. Usually the haste expires shortly after the Mind Flayer. But since we moved pretty quick, we had a long time there on that left, which is pretty cool. So happy about that. All right. So next, pop the or throw it. We'll pop that into the slot here. Travel back to floor 11. And then we will proceed to the last floor of the game. And so the Xanathar fight, I'll kind of explain on our way there. It can get dicey because, again, there's game lag, like I've been mentioning constantly, but Xanathar can just pretty much insta-cast, insta-kill spells. So he could kill any person in my party at almost any given time with very little room for me to not get killed. So if he kills the wizard, I have to reload because the wizard's the only person that can use the wand to complete the 12th quest. So you have to kind of just hope that when he casts his insta spell, well, hopefully that he won't cast it at all, but if he does, that he doesn't kill the mage. So we're going to do a little prep here before we go into this next section. So there's where did I put that? Yeah. Oh, that's key is in her inventory. So yeah, there's going to be 2 Zorns and a Mind Flayer in this room. What we want to do is, there's a keyhole. We're going to pop the key into the keyhole. We're going to wait, like, I don't know, a second. We're going to strafe, and there's like a cube in the center of the room that we're going to kind of strafe around. And hopefully the Mind Flayer comes out, follows us around the corner here without the Zorns getting in our way. And then we can just pop back into that room there. and portal out of here without having to fight any of these guys. Alright, so that worked. Perfect. So that avoids like having to dance around a couple Zorns and kill another Mind Flayer, which is nice. That worked out pretty well. Alright, so get ready to see the fanciest floor of all D&D games. Such a great color scheme here. Xanathar has amazing taste. So, weird difference between this game and the DOS version is that wall you can usually just pull the lamp or touch the lamp there and it'll turn and open the wall. This one you have to actually throw something at the wall, which is super confusing. I don't know why it's like that, but it's just kind of funny to call out that there's a difference like that. I'm lagging pretty hard here. I got turned around. I don't know where I'm facing. Alright, there we go. Okay. Had to get reoriented there. Alright, so the deal with this part coming up is, I'll explain why I moved the wizard there in a second too. But, so what we got coming up here is this room in front of us. There's golems, and golems are definitely the hardest monster in the game, for sure. They just are almost impossible to hit. So that's why we're putting Empower on, that's why we're putting Haste on. But ideally, it doesn't really matter how much damage these guys take at this point. Like, Xanathar is going to insta-kill us regardless of how much health we have. But we need to make it through this golem. There's 4 golems in this room, and as I kill them, there's a whole bunch in the back that you can kind of see moving back and forth. The best case scenario is we kill this one, I can move past him quickly, and we can just leave the room before the others come at us. Alright, so we're going to have to deal with at least 2, which is unfortunate. If we have to deal with 3, that's like definitely below average, I would say. 2 is like average, like that just happens. I mean, ideally this super doesn't die here, just because we want to be able to keep swinging. Alright, there we go. We're going to move quickly here. Okay, so there's probably a golem behind us, so we're going to close this door quick. Alright, good. He didn't even show up. But that's it. That's the last bit of fighting we actually have to do. So we do a combo here, center, left, right. This teleports us to the hallway where Xanathar resides. So we're going to go through here, through this next door. Alright, and then, so this like chamber here is the last chamber for the boss fight. So I'm going to save here. I'm going to save twice. Save before this action here because as soon as I finish the dialogue with Xanathar, he again could cast that instant death spell if he kills the mage, like it's over. So we want to make sure that we click attack here too. You can click surrender and it makes you drop all your stuff, which is kind of funny, and then he kills you anyway. So if you click attack, he'll do his thing. Alright, so that's good. We didn't get murdered immediately. So we stay here until he moves into position. We back through this light that blasts him with a fireball, which doesn't do any damage. You can't really kill him that way. I think he's actually immune to it anyway. We're going to go here, and we're going to save here. So this part can get dicey because just again, the timing with things and the lag, it's really hard to get to use the wand to get, because you have to kind of push him too. So like, I'll kind of explain it as I'm doing it. So we move around him. Oh, I went too fast. That's alright. Go here, here, and then this. And then see how it kind of like throws my mouse in like a random, it's not so much random direction, but oh, that actually was really, really smooth. So that's time. That was a pretty good run actually. I'll take that for sure. So I'll quickly explain the ending here. So on the DOS version, if you do all 12 quests, you get a special note at the end. It's like, hey, you did all the special quests, like take this code and like mail it here or something like that. It was obviously some sort of contest. They cut that part out of this game. Like, you don't get the 12, like the 12th reward doesn't trigger, so you don't get any special ending or anything like that, which is a bummer. But you do get a visual here, which I think is kind of nice. Like, you get a little cutscene, which you don't get in the DOS version. So it's obviously just the heroes going back to the Lord of Waterdeep, and you know, they're all impressed that you killed Xanathar and stuff. It's just pretty cool, like, animation. It's very Capcom-y. This game was released by Capcom, so I don't know. I just thought it was a really nice addition. That and the music, I think, is what makes this game, like, cool. The controls just totally ruin it. But overall, Um, it's pretty fun. So I got one more game to yeah, right. It's all good. But yeah, I got one more game to showcase here. So I'm gonna step away for a minute or two, grab some water since that was like a lot of talking, and then I will be right back for Nobunaga's Ambition.